All right, here we have this Premier course. And there are a lot of great things that you do in here, so that's good. Here we're basically doing kind of a serpentine cue over this jump. The dog's coming in and then away. So ideally you want to be maybe a little further ahead, although your dog reads that very well. But just in general, your dog, because you're kind of a little bit more even, your dog really has to trust when they take off that you are going to get out of their way. And your dog does, and does that well, but in general, we don't want to have them make that, we don't want to make them make that choice. We want to make them comfortable that they can take that jump. Sometimes you'll get a bar there if you're kind of crowding the dog there. Now here, you're coming in for a deceleration, but because of the stride length of your dog, it's just a little bit too late. And that's going to be why your dog takes off really early and ends up taking this bar. So if you were a little further ahead, you could get a little closer to the jump and still show a strong decel before your dog gets there. So ideally, as your dog is here, you would already be up here showing that deceleration. If you can't get up there, then you do need to do deceleration where you start to do it here. But for some dogs, they don't put in that extra stride when you're not close to this jump. And so we need to do some training with them for them to understand that decel at a distance still means to put in that extra stride before they turn, because your dog is basically launching from right where you're at. So those are kind of the two strategies. Either be further ahead, which in this case starts about here. I think that you're doing a lot of watching your dog here instead of realizing that this jump is in your dog's path and you can really book it in this direction. So now we're coming back this way. I like how you really get your dog here and then start moving in the new direction. It's going to help your dog find that wingless. Oh, that bar is down. That's why that looks a little funny. Nice front into the weave pulls there. And you already know about your 2-on-2 off. So then we're coming up on the tunnel. So here, we're barely making it here for this push to the backside, and that kind of stems here from the dog walk. So this becomes a little bit awkward. You're really with your dog at this point. Your dog is going this way, you're here. That makes it really hard for you to magically get over here for the blind cross that you're about to do. So you do it, but again, when your dog takes off, you are in their way, and when your dog takes off, he should be expecting to come to your right side based on this picture. And then you're gonna cut him off, and he's gonna, and I can't really see the depth here, so I can't see if he still thinks about coming to this side and then comes around this side, or if he figures it out. But he would not be wrong to try to come to the other side there. And so that's why you get a little bit of a hiccup here, because it's just too late. At this point, he's thinking right side. So we need to trust this back side a little bit more here. And I think that you can. So at this point, your dog is on a line for this back side. And so at this point, you can start diverging and come over here for the blind and letting his momentum, especially with a larger dog, take him to that back side. And so here on the tunnel, it's a little surprising that he turns so sharply away. I do typically I would push into the dog. Push into the dog if I wanted that tunnel. And normally I would use the opposite arm cue to get this tunnel, depending on where the dog is headed. So if the dog is jumping this and they're on a direct line for this tunnel, then I wouldn't need to do that. I would just say over tunnel, and then I would rear across. If they're jumping towards at all the middle of the jump, then yes, I need a threadle cue to bring them to this end of the jump. Of the tunnel. but I'm not sure what causes your dog to turn so sharply away here, because at this point he actually is on the line. So I'm going to see if I can hear anything in particular. And I don't really hear it. So from this view, I can't really tell the angles perfectly well, but it sounds like you typically would use the opposite arm for this end of the tunnel, and it was just something that slipped your mind during the running. Really nice sharp turn here at the tire to get the turn to the teeter. And nicely done.